Unlimited Power, the New Science of Personal Achievement by Tony Robbins. Unleash the complete potential of your mind and body. Do you have goals that you haven't reached yet? Of course you do. We all do. A lot of people go through life feeling unsatisfied, thinking that there is nothing they can do to find true happiness. In the most difficult situations, these feelings can result in depression and giving up on one's true passions. But imagine if there was a way to find fulfillment and accomplish the things you have always wanted. There is no such thing as failure, because every step you take gives you a chance to learn and grow. If you have ever experienced depression, you're probably familiar that feeling like a failure can be a strong trigger for depression. Maybe you didn't pass an important test, or perhaps you made a bad business decision, and suddenly it's like you have dark clouds just surrounding you. In truth, failure doesn't really exist. Failure is what we define it. In fact, if you define failure as not achieving every single possible goal you've ever had in your entire life on the first try in the time frame you originally set, I mean, come on, almost everybody who has tried to accomplish anything anyway, even ultra-successful people, are going to have been a failure at one point or another. The key difference between successful people and others is that successful people view quote-unquote failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. Imagine this situation. You leave your home to start a business, but it fails before you turn 21 years old. Soon after, you lose a loved one to an illness. Then, in your 30s and 40s, you try to pursue a political career, but lose multiple elections. Whew, this is getting tough. You might view this life path as a series of failures and feeling hopeless. Why don't you just go ahead and give up? Or you could follow Abraham Lincoln's example. This was the story of his life. And instead of quitting, he learned from his experiences. He eventually became one of the most respected presidents in U.S. history. Thomas Edison also did not believe in failure, at least how we define it. He never gave up on inventing the light bulb just because one thing didn't work out. Okay, I guess I failed. I'm just a failure. No! Come on, he tried 10,000 times before he actually made it work, but would you call him a failure? I mean, you probably got some lights around you right now. You probably got some lights in your car and some lights in your house and some lights outside and the streets. What? This dude created the light bulb. Does it really matter how many times he failed? No. So was he a failure going along that path? No, that was part of the path to success. Edison did not see his earlier attempts as failures. Instead, each one was a discovery that showed him a way not to make the light bulb on the path to making the light bulb. It was the process he had to go through. Throughout history, successful people have learned from their mistakes, and they have not been afraid to continue trying. This advice applies to personal misunderstandings as well. Sometimes, even when we try to be kind and positive, our actions can unfortunately, unintentionally hurt people's feelings. In these situations, instead of getting defensive, why was it my fault, or blaming the other person for misunderstanding your words or actions, try to understand why your message was misunderstood. Perhaps it wasn't what you said, but how you said it. Maybe it's the tone of your voice. Yeah, kind of the tone of your voice. You're a little bit different. Or was it the tone of your voice? The way you say things matter. So maybe somebody else in their life talked one way or said something a certain way, and it's not how you did it. It just kind of got all jumbled up. But once you figure out the source of the problem, the two of you can work together to avoid that issue in the future. You guys didn't fail at communicating. You got over it and you moved forward. That's a success if you define it that way. You can manage your brain and change how you handle emotions to overcome depression. Unpolished gemstones look just like ordinary rocks. Life's challenging situations are similar to these raw gems. It is up to you and your brain to polish those rocks to reveal the beautiful, brilliant gemstone inside. In other words, you cannot stop difficult situations from occurring. They will happen from time to time. But what you can do is choose how your mind processes and remembers these events. You do have the power to consciously control your perception of the world. For instance, maybe you dream of becoming an actor, but you hesitate because your inner voice tells you, you're not talented enough. You're not going to succeed. What your brain is not telling you is that your skills can be developed, even if that is true. That's why we have acting classes, and we can dedicate ourselves to improving. Transforming that inner voice can make a significant difference. First, pay attention to what it's saying. Then, instead of letting it run your life, just spewing negativity into your mind, you tell it. You're like, no, inner voice, you're going to be positive. Maybe I'm not the best actor, but that's not what you're going to say. What you're going to say is, I'm going to dedicate myself to this craft and I'm going to become the best. If that doesn't help, try changing the tone of your inner voice. Make it more pleasant, even attractive, like this. This technique can strip your inner voice of its power to create fear and anxiety, making it easier to face your fears. Just think about it. If your inner voice that you hear is saying, nah, you can't do that. You're a loser. Ooh, that doesn't sound very good now, does it? Now say the same thing, but change the voice. Oh, you can't do that. You're a loser. Okay, that doesn't quite sound right, does it? See, all you're doing is just changing a little bit. You're just tweaking it a little bit. Just tweak the words a little bit. Tweak the voice a little bit. Just change the framing of it. And you will be able to talk to yourself in a much more positive way. You can use this to combat depression as well. Depression does not have to be unavoidable. One way to prevent it from taking over is to ask yourself, what thoughts and physical sensations led to these feelings of depression? Become aware of how depressive feelings are generated within you, and then you can help regain control over them. If you don't know what is causing your depression, it's going to be a lot harder to control it. So the first step is figuring out how you get into that state in the first place. Negative thoughts often trigger or accompany depression. You may see yourself as worthless, unattractive, or unsuccessful. Or maybe you say discouraging things to yourself with a sad tone and a lowered head. No, I can't do that. No, I'm not good enough. By observing these thoughts and feelings and the tone you talk to yourself in, you can identify which ones trigger your depression and address them before they take control. Remind yourself, you are valuable, beautiful, and not a failure. You're on the path to success. What is that? That's a reframe. You can tell yourself you're a failure, or you can say, I'm on the path to success. That is taking charge of your inner voice. With these tools, you will discover that you possess the power to alleviate your depression. You can achieve anything with the 5-step method of modeling. Have you ever looked up to someone and thought, I'll never be as good at my job as they are? Don't underestimate yourself. There are specific ways to reach any goal. By copying the strategies, attitudes, and skills of successful people, you can achieve similar results. This method is called modeling, and it allows you to acquire any skills you want, even those outside of your current area of expertise. For example, Robbins had no experience in shooting weapons, but he accepted an invitation from the U.S. Army to enhance the shooting accuracy of their soldiers. That's an interesting situation. Upon arrival, only 70% of the recruits were passing the final shooting exam. Robbins closely observed the top performers and began modeling a new training program based on the top performers' techniques. He examined everything: their thoughts, body positions, and decision-making for firing a shot. Even with knowing nothing about shooting and just observing the top shooters and everyone else, he was able to create a new program, and 100% of the new recruits passed the test with outstanding results. So, how did Robbins accomplish this? He follows a 5-step process that works for almost anything. Suppose you want to be a better downhill skier. First, find a gold medal skier and study their exact movements while skiing down the slopes. Second, practice by copying and reproducing these movements yourself, something many athletes do naturally. Third, visualize the gold medal winning skier in your mind. Picture every moment in detail until you have a complete image of what perfect skiing looks like. Fourth, imagine yourself as the expert skier in your visualization and picture your own flawless movements. You might see yourself stumble or struggle at first, but keep visualizing until you are just as skilled as the expert. Fifth, and finally, put it into action on the slopes. You will find that the visualization pays off in reality, and your performance will improve. That's not to say you don't need to practice to become a gold medalist, but it will significantly increase your rate of improvement. Boost your memory and creativity by using eye movement to activate your brain. Here is a mental exercise. Envision someone who is deep in thought. There is a high chance that you imagined someone with their eyes directed upward and to the right. You might also notice that this is a common expression for cartoon or comic book characters who are thinking. Now, ask yourself a challenging question, like, how many windows are in your house? And observe what happens. You likely looked up and to the right as you tried to visualize each room and count. This is a normal reflex when trying to remember something. Note, for some left-handed individuals, their eyes might go up and to the left because their brains are completely backwards. Freak! Here's another exercise. Imagine what you would look like with 3 eyes. Or envision a creature with a lion's head, a lizard's body, and a scorpion's tail. This time, you'll notice that your eyes probably moved sideways, not upwards. That's because these are new images, not ones stored in our memories. We're not trying to recall something. That's when our eyes go up. We're trying to imagine something new. Surprisingly, being aware of these eye movements can enhance your memory and creativity. The next time you are trying to remember something, like ingredients for a complicated recipe or your anniversary, look up and to the right. But maybe with the anniversary one, don't let them see that. Kind of act like you have to, close your eyes and scratch them. But then on the inside, you can put them up, because otherwise, if you let them see that, they're like, oh, you don't remember our anniversary. This will help you access the part of your brain that stores memories. And hopefully, maybe some dates. Conversely, if you need to create an advertising campaign, for example, for your company's newest product, try looking to the right. Instead of digging into your memory, this will activate the creative part of your brain that envisions new solutions. By discovering the best communication style, you can ensure your partner feels loved. You might have heard about different learning styles in school. Some people learn better by reading, others by listening, others by doing. And, some of us learn by touch. The same concept applies to romantic relationships. That's when the touch comes in handy. You know what I'm saying? When your communication style differs from your partner's, it can lead to misunderstandings. People who prefer auditory communication consider what they hear and say more important than what they see. So when they express their love, they'll focus on talking and using affectionate words. They'll tell you how much they love you. On the other hand, A person who is visual will show you their love by writing notes or giving gifts like jewelry or flowers. They rely on visual cues to convey their appreciation and love. But these gestures might not be as meaningful to a partner who needs verbal expressions in order to feel loved and fulfilled. To determine whether your partner is auditory, visual, or kinesthetic, I'm talking about that feel, little feely, ask a few simple questions. First, ask your partner about a time when they felt entirely, completely loved. Next, ask what caused that feeling. Was it something that their partner said? Was it a surprise gift? Was it a little bow chicka wow wow, bow chicka wow wow? Your partner might be multiple. They're visual and kinesthetic, in which case you should use touch and visual communication. Or they might be auditory and visual, which means that you should probably just break up with them. No. You want to speak and use visual cues. So make sure to try combining different ways of expressing your love. You can adjust your body language to combat depression and increase energy. Have you ever noticed that after crying, we stop the tears by lifting our heads and taking deep breaths through our noses and into our chests? This is just one example of how our body can influence our emotions. Another change to your body can give you a burst of energy when you're feeling tired. We often surrender to fatigue, which can hurt our productivity if we're still working. But there are steps we can take to regain our energy. The key to fighting tiredness is recognizing its signs. Our muscles start to relax. Our shoulders slump. Our jaws loosen. When you pay attention to your body, you can notice these signs as they appear and be prepared to reverse them. You can do this by adding tension to your muscles. Pull your shoulders back, open up your chest, and smile, standing at attention. This posture will trigger an energy boost, revitalizing your body and mind. Before you know it, you'll be ready for action. In more ways than one. Standing at attention. Ready for action. You know what I'm talking about? Your posture can also help combat feelings of depression. We've discussed the power of positive thinking, but many people have also found success in fighting depression by using their body. When we're depressed, how do we hold our body? In the Peanuts comic strip, a character refers to a certain posture, shoulders slumped, head tilted towards the floor as his depressed position. He claims this position is perfect for feeling gloomy, because if he straightened up and looked at the world, he'd feel better and couldn't enjoy his depression. Silly, but there's a lot of truth to this. By simply raising your head, taking a few deep breaths, your chest will open up and you'll feel full of energy. Once you start doing that, it's only a matter of time before that depression it just fades away. The power of conviction arises when you align your body and mind with a confident plan of action. Picture yourself on the front lines of an intense military battle, and your commanding officer gathers the troops to present a new plan of attack. Now, imagine if the general shared this plan while looking at the ground, mumbling quietly, "Well, I think we should do this." Shuffling their feet, let's go this way instead. Making weak gestures with his hands, maybe over there. I'm going to point to this over here. Come on. That's not going to inspire any confidence. Hey, guess what? The same is true with how you use your body and how you feel about yourself. Confidence and personal power come to those who believe their plan in life, and life in general, is a good one. Instead of constantly worrying about making the right choice, make a decision and pursue it with total confidence. If your plan is filled with, well, maybe we might do this, well, maybe we might do this, your body will reflect that insecurity, and guess what? So will your action. Your posture will slump, and your gaze will be unfocused, as will your mind be. You'll feel confused as your brain constantly switches between wanting to do something, but then hesitating and feeling unconfident, insecure. So develop your power of conviction by aligning your thoughts and body with confidence. When you commit to a plan and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this. I'm getting this done. This is the plan. Your body will mirror that determined focus. And guess what? When you're talking to yourself like that and your body is confident, before you know it, you'll be holding that head high, eyes focused and sharp, and everyone will trust and believe in you, most importantly, yourself. And your actions will back that confidence up. You can enhance your powers of conviction by emulating charismatic leaders. Charisma is evident in those who are self-assured and confident, visible in the way they speak and carry themselves. You just see them, you're like, whoo, they confident, they feeling themselves, they know what to do, I can trust that person. You can practice the technique of modeling good and bad body language with a friend. Ask a friend to recall a powerful past event, positive or negative, and pay close attention to how their mannerisms change as they remember and think about it. Then start mirroring everything: their posture, facial expressions, eye movements, breathing tempo. Do you think you're going to have a hard time figuring out if they're recalling something good or bad? Once you have mastered this process, observe charismatic actors, business people, or political leaders, and adopt their body language. Doing so will set you on a path to increasing your own personal confidence and power. Listen, you are not a victim. The events in your life result from your attitude towards them and how you treat yourself and your body. If you want to change your life, start changing your attitude. By making small adjustments to how you react to situations and your emotions, you will discover that you can achieve anything you desire. This concludes Unlimited Power.